1 minute, because we are going to do this in streaming. I think there are some people. No, the Spanish session is. Yeah, but it will be, yeah, more people here and less. Yeah? Go. Me pongo la otra. Vale. ¿Ahora? ¿Se me escucha? ¿Sí? ¿Sí? ¿Empieza ya? Okay, so good afternoon and welcome to Elisava. My name is Pedro and I am the head of the MA in Photography and Design at Elisava. I'm going to use the website to go through the structure of the MA and some of the contents and some of the projects that we do. And I think I will be talking about 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then we have time if you want to make questions. I assume probably you have been looking at this website. Here is the main website, the Elisava's website, elisava.net, and then it's easy to find the Master in Photography and Design. You have here actually all the information that is public, the papers that you have. It is also here, it's exactly the same. So the MA runs from September to July, 3 days a week, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. In the mornings, the English course from 10 until 2:30. Or 15 past. This is the days that we have class in the school, and as this is a very practical course, we also have sometimes classes outside these days, and sometimes even in the afternoons. For example, recently, a couple of weeks ago, we do a workshop about architecture. Students, they have to photograph both in the morning and in the afternoon because the light is quite different. Different problems and issues. So that's one of the examples in where we go outside of this timetable. But 90% of the classes are running. So you have here the presentation, also you have a short video about the MA. I'm not going to use this. Here you have a link, masterfotografia.elisava, which takes you to the master's website. I don't know if you have seen this website, where you can find some projects from students, like these works. These are from last year graduates, some of the final projects, and also you have here a collective project that we do along the year. For us, it's very important the students do their own projects, but also they know how to work in groups. Also because some projects they have to be done in group because they are so big and so ambitious that just 1-2 people wouldn't be able to do this project. About some of these. But I want to talk about the structure of the MA. I want to use this infographic, which I think is quite a good example, a visual example of how the master is structured. We could say we have two main parts for the MA, 2 semesters. That's semester 1 and semester 2, both with 30 credits. And the first semester runs from September until end of February. And the second semester runs from beginning of March until beginning of July. This semester, the first semester, is about the fundamentals of photography. And by fundamentals of photography, I mean visual narrative, photography theory, graphic edition, equipment, studio lighting, post-production, outdoor lighting, of course, digital equipment, photography software, also the basics of graphic design. This semester is, the main aim of this semester is to give to the student the tools, technical tools, theoretical tools, practical tools, design tools that will make possible to go into the second semester to do major projects. Here at Elisava and also at this MA, all the lectures, all the classes are very practical. We are always taking photographs. So even if we do photography theory, we do photography theory taking photos. So everything is very. So in this first part of we have these 3 main units: the grammar of photography, in where we look and we study and we think about how images have a meaning and how they are polysemic and how they interact with other images and with other contexts. And we talk about formats and we talk about number of photographs. In the photography studio, it's mainly about using the camera in the studio, outside of the studio. And being always working in the studio. We have 2 studios here in Elisava that the students can use. And then we have another unit on digital photography, which is more about post-production and all kind of software like Photoshop, Lightroom, Capture One, Aperture. So this first part of the MA, as I say, about knowing the language. For us, the technique is important. Technical aspects of photography obviously are important. All photographs, they have to be technically perfectly done. But for us, the most important thing is about ideas and about meaning and about being able to express with every single photograph something, a meaning, a complex idea. So this is mainly what we do. We have projects sometimes we have daily projects, sometimes we have weekly projects, sometimes we have monthly projects. In this first part of the course, normally we have like 2-3 projects at the same time with different lengths, with different topics. We do landscape photography, we do still life photography, we do portraits. We try to do as many types of photography. Always having in mind this aim of expressing our ideas or thoughts or views about the world with photography. Then on the second part of the MA, we do major projects, we do real projects, we do projects that then it will exist in the street. We do exhibitions in galleries, we participate in art fairs, in photo markets, we do installations in some places, we do publications, we do sometimes digital installations. So we have an important part, which is the digital design. We have photography for design, we have digital design, we have editorial design, online design. We have this kind of professional approach to photography, in where we talk about professional practices, we talk about image rights, we talk about fees, we talk about how to invoice, we talk about how to apply for grants, for prizes, how to find jobs, how to write about your own images, which is something that not many photographers can do, how to have personal brand, how to have a personal image as a photographer and have your own brand. And we have the major project of the whole MA, which is the final project, the photography project, starts in beginning of January, just after Christmas, and ends at the end of the as I said, this second part is very, very, very practical. At the end of the semester 2, the student has to submit 2 different portfolios. One commercial portfolio, which has to contain fashion photographs, commercial photographs, architecture photographs, food photographs, landscape, indoors photographs, portraits. So kind of a professional commercial portfolio, and a more artistic, with a more artistic approach portfolio, which is maybe I can show you some of the projects we do as a collective. This, for example, is the last one that we have, not the last one that we have done, because we have done another 2 after this one, but they haven't been presented yet, so they will be in the next. This was a project we started almost a year ago in the context of Dogfield, which is a photography festival here in Barcelona, quite important festival. And they had the topic of the festival this year was traveling. So within that topic, we chose tourism, and we explore how the image of Barcelona has been explored through tourism and through postcards. So what we did basically was to make images for postcards, because these images we printed them as postcards, images that you would never find in a postcard, anti-postcard. So we had this even website for the find all the images that the students did. As I said, we did print these postcards. At the end, we had like 40 different postcards, and we put them in touristic information offices. So people come into Barcelona and go into this touristic information point, asking for some information about Barcelona, also could find this other side of Barcelona, which is also as real as the Sagrada Familia or as Las Ramblas. So all the images, as you can see, are images that you don't expect to find in a postcard. And they were exactly the same size, they were exactly the same format. On the other side, you don't have here the other side of the postcard, but it is exactly. But they are not, I don't know why they are not all here, but we have. So we did this installation in different places in Barcelona where we put these postcards, and then we also did this exhibition here in Elisava, in the gallery, where have with all the projects from selfie wall with this where I think there were 500 images of people taking selfies of themselves. So you could take your own selfie with these people taking selfies behind you. So we spent few months doing this. Also here, for me, it's quite important that the students are an active part of the course. So they obviously did the images, but they also curate the show. They decided how big each image should be, where that image should be placed on that wall. They decided that we had to have a selfie wall. They decided that these images, they had to be in this plinth. So the whole design of the exhibition also was done by students. We have in this, on the other structure diagram that I put you, we have also a unit on designing exhibitions, placing images in different. Another project that we do every year that I'm going to show you the last year one, because this year's is going, the opening will be on Saturday 19th of May, so in a month's time, is this collaboration with Vila Casas, which is a very important art foundation in Catalonia. And we do this collaboration and with our students, and we use the walls outside of the museum. This is the Poblenou. And we use these walls outside of the museum as frames. These are windows which are closed, and we use these windows as these frames. Putting in each of these windows work of one student. The scale of these images is huge. This is probably 2.5 meters tall by 1.5 or 1 something. And all we always have a panel in which we explain what we have done, all the name of all the artists, the website that we always do for these projects. And this project is about the relationship between painting and photography, and the relationship between architecture, the space, and the body, and how the space affects the way the viewer looks and interacts with the work of art. So they are very performative images, some of them quite simple in the terms of the composition, but highly conceptual with a strong idea. And this takes also a few months to and another project, collective project that we do every year. It's this collaboration with a shopping center here in Barcelona, Las Arenas, in Plaza España, and they have this kind of main place in the middle of the building. This used to be a bullfighting ring. Now it's a shopping center. So we intervene this space with the project. This is almost 200 square meters of photographs on the floor. You can see here the scale. In this case, this project was about how we perceive people depending on the color. How we interact with them differently depending on that color. So what we did was to photograph different people. And placing them in this kind of panel. As I said, the scale was quite impressive, and also because the perspective, this square, well, it is not a square. This round, this place, this plaza is in the middle of the shopping center. So this, I think, is 3-4 levels. from the 4th is this. Projects next week, for example, I don't know if I have this here from last year. Next week there is an art fair in Barcelona called Art Photo Barcelona. So we participate with a stall, and 2 students from last year will be in that fair selling their images. The week after next, there is another photo market in Barcelona called Utopia Photo Market. So we also go with the students from this year to sell photographs. Then in 3 weeks' time, there is a festival in Barcelona called Revelate, which is a photography festival about analog photography. And we also participate. We participate in almost every photography festival that happens in Barcelona. As I said, it's a very practical course. It's very, very intense. Photography is a very practical discipline. So practice what we teach you here. We don't go. We won't go very, very far. So we expect students to practice at least the same amount of hours that you will have classes. So if you have 12 hours of lectures a week, we expect you will master's degree is a very important independent study and the effort that we put. Obviously, you have all the facilities in Elisava to do your homework. The homework here is projects. We choose weekly or daily, as I said before, topics. Maybe one day could be the city, one day could be tourism, one day could be something more abstract like love, or something much more concrete like, I don't know, landscape or streets or cars. And every student has to do a project. And most of the classes are either technical classes in which we show you different techniques and different ways of doing and working with your camera and with the light, and other classes in which we look at those images that you have done, at those projects that you have done, and we review them in group. As I said, having and looking at both the technical side, which has to be always perfect, but the most important one, which is the more conceptual and the more path about the meaning and the ideas about the project. And as I said, here in this website you have almost everything, all the things that we do. We do. This is, for example, the Art Photo Barcelona from last year. This photo fair that I was telling you. This is the stall of the student last year. And we do actions, and we participate in many. I said this before. Obviously the student has to work by his own, but also we do this kind of collective projects, which requires a lot of time and energy with other colleagues. For us, it's quite important to learn how to work in groups, because this time is almost impossible to work by yourself. So I think we have to learn and educate to work in groups, and also being able to work from different disciplines. So that's why we have a lot of design. Obviously, this is why we learn write about themselves and how to design a website, and how to have a personal brand, and how to design their own publications, and how to design their own exhibitions. Not only, I think this this moment is not only about taking good photos or amazing photos, selling those photos. So for us, that second part, which starts happening after Easter, normally, this kind of our professional approach and going from being a student and becoming a professional, and about selling and about fees, and about invoices, and about how to approach an editor or how to approach a magazine if we want to work for a magazine, or how to approach a museum. And you have in this website, in the master's website, as I say, all the news of actions that we do, some festivals, exhibitions, degree shows. Then you have also the presentation, all the aims and learning outcomes, what we are expecting from students. We have always no more than 15 students per group. We strongly feel that we cannot deal with more than 15. Not give proper attention to the students if we have more than 15 for technical reasons, and also for this course is quite intense, all senses are intense from the student's point of view, but also intense from the lecturer's point of view. Tutorials, group tutorials, individual tutorials, so we wouldn't be able to do that with more than 15 students per group. Here, for example, we have 14 in the Spanish group and 11. You also have here a list of the staff, of the lectures that we have. We are all professionals, we are all practitioners, we are all photographers, or either photographers or editors, or critics or curators, but we don't have academics, or we don't have people who only teach and don't do anything else. We have you have in this website this structure that I show you with more detail. I don't want to go into more detail here of exactly what is covered in each of these, kind of the methodology that we use, which is basically a very practical approach and learning by mistakes. We strongly feel we have to learn from our mistakes, so we make sure students know and are aware of the mistakes. And yeah, the subjects that we saw before, and this part is some of the resources, not all, but some of the resources that we use in some of the classes. We have another, especially most of them are videos. We have a virtual campus in where a lot of information for students, where students they have to submit the work, where we put some manuals, some readings. But for videos, this platform works much better. So I don't want to speak too much because go through something more. With the graduates, it's a very close relationship. Obviously, we have there's a fact, and most of the students, especially this group, are from all over the place. Are from Morocco, India, Afghanistan, Spanish from Mexico, from Colombia, obviously from Spain as well. So we have groups in Facebook in which we share a lot of information that could be useful. I try to meet at least twice a year with graduates. Obviously, there is a physical limitations if you live in Canada. But people living in Barcelona, we invite them to almost everything we do. So, for example, next week in this Art Photo Barcelona, we will meet probably, I don't know, 15, 20 ex-students that come sometimes in the next photo market in 2 weeks' time, this Utopia photo market that is happening in Barcelona. We not only invite them to the opening, but they participate as well. So they will also be there selling. This Greetings from Barcelona exhibition, the first one that I show you, this one was between graduates and current students, so they were a mix of both. Actually, these two images are from graduates. This is a graduate from last year, and this is a graduate from Alejandro. Every time we have an opportunity to work with graduates, we use it. Now, for example, for the exhibition, in this context, which is Dogfield, that I said before is a photography festival in Barcelona that happens in November. We are starting now the project for the next edition of the festival with the current students that when will be the opening, will be already graduates, and we will work with these students now and the students that will start in September. And we are inviting other graduates to join us. Main problem for this connection is the physical, the geographical problem. Most of them go back to their countries, but with the ones here, it's quite close. Yes, of course. We try to at least a couple of times a year to invite them to participate in festivals. Some of these actions or projects, they only are for graduates. For example, next week's art fair, this Art Photo Barcelona, the two photographers that are participating with us are graduates. The same, for example, with a fashion contest, we always work with graduates. We do. There are many things that I didn't tell you. There is another festival in Barcelona. For example, the Photogenic Festival, which happened in October. We have two exhibitions in this festival. Both exhibitions are only with graduates because it's the perfect place for them. Another festival, for example, this Foto Igualada, which is another festival in a village near Elisava, here. We always do this with graduates from the year before. So this happens in February. So this year, this is from 2 years ago, from 2000. Oh, yeah, last year. So we always use graduates from the year before. So there are like 2, 3 festivals or art fairs that we invite graduates to participate. And the same with some prizes, with some grants that we have, because most of them, or some of them, not most, some of them are for graduates. So I usually send an email to I have a group with all the graduates, an email group. For example, today I sent 2 emails to that group, asking them if they want to participate in 2 different actions. The problem is sometimes, yes, graphical problems, and then people are busy sometimes doing other things. For me, it's very important to this is, it is a very intense year when we are here. The year that the students are here is very intense. We end up being friends with most of the students because we live a lot of things together, a lot of emotions, a lot of frustrations, a lot of times, troubles that we do. So for me, it's very important to keep that contact and to keep the group together when they finish. Also, we have some workplaces to offer because some graduates, they have their own studio and they are doing well and they need some help. So the first thing think about is to call Pedro and see good students to recommend to have this, and I think it works really well. And I try to keep as much contact as possible. Obviously, there are some people who left and they have another interest now, have their own lives and maybe families. And I always email all the information that I think is relevant for graduates. For us, it's part of. I don't think this ends when July comes. It doesn't end. Something starts, something different. And I say always this. I always say this in the graduation ceremony that today something ends, but something else starts. And this professional part is not the whole semester. It's just a part which actually starts in 3 weeks' time. So it's like a month and a half part. No, the main part there is in this second part. There is an important part. These 3 parts. An important part which is a professional practice, a photography practice, in which we have professional workshops on different types of photography. So we have a week workshop on architecture photography, and we spend the whole week doing just architecture photography with, obviously, an architecture photographer. And another week doing indoors photography with a different photographer. We do another part on editorial. We do another week on fashion. We do another week on e-commerce, about portraits, and we do another week with. So it's like many different photographers. In the first part, we are maybe 7-8 lectures. Only in the second part, we have like 25, because we try to get the best architecture photographer and the best interior. So we have this first part of this second semester, which is a very practical, professionally orientated. Then we have a second part, which is the one that we are now, in which we try to give a context to the final project. We do editorial design, so we are designing a publication for each student. We do online design. We design, not we, they design a digital portfolio for each of them. We do the branding, so each of them will end up with a brand, with a personal brand. We do the exhibition design. We do a workshop on format, okay, I have done this final project, and now how these images are going to be. Are they going to be on paper? Are they going to be digitally? How big are they going to be? How many should I print? Is it going to be a book? Is it going to be a website? Is it going to be a video? So this kind of giving the right context for the project. And then the third part, which is the professional approach on professional market, in which we have, for example, a workshop about money, about, okay, I have to do a wedding, how much should I charge? Or I have someone ask me to do photos of chairs, how much should I charge? Well, depends. How many photographs, what is going to be the use of those photographs is not the same doing a catalog for a local company, a catalog which is going to be only on the shop, that doing photographs for IKEA, for example, which those images are going to be internationally distributed, and so we do a workshop on that, and how to make an invoice in Spain, but also abroad, and how to, okay, someone from the UK called me to do a job, so how can I do that? We have a workshop on image rights. We have a lawyer telling us everything about, okay, what's my rights as a photographer, should I sell the rights of my images, the different types of rights, like the right of reproduction, the right of the image. So we have that workshop as well. We have workshops about how to apply for grants, how to apply for prizes, what kind of grants are available for photographers, what are the differences, if you want to apply for a prize or for a contest, how you should approach, how you should present yourself and your work. We have also some photographers, curators, editors, art directors coming here to give a conference and to see, okay, now what's next? No? You are not a student anymore. I am an art director, I work in a marketing or in an advertising agency, and this is what I'm looking for if you want to work in the advertising world, or if you want to work in the fashion industry. And this is what you have to do, and these are the doors to what you have to do. So we try to get and to cover as wide as possible the obviously most of the lectures and the people and the photographers that come here to do lectures and also to do some talks are from Barcelona. So get to know quite well the local. Also, all of those festivals, art fairs that we participate are about exactly that. Some of them, for example, in this Utopia that we 2 weeks is about networking and about meeting people, portfolio, your photos, your business card, and learning from other people and see how they present their work, and people who have more experience than you, see how they present the work, how do they do their portfolio, how much do they charge for their images, but also it's a network. We do have also a workshop on networking, online, on social media. How do we, as a photographer, how should I manage my Instagram account, or how should I manage my Facebook? All of this kind of this workshop is in a communication workshop. I am now Pedro. I am a photographer. I do this type of photography, and how should I sell myself, and how should I present myself? Because most of the time, in my opinion, the problem with many photographers is that they don't go into the right direction. If I do photographs of pets, I have to go a guy who hates pets. I have to know who is pets magazines, pets websites, food industry for pets, many. That's part of this which is the very last part of the MA. We also have a workshop about stock image, which is earning quite a nice amount of money and quite how to. So we have the biggest stock image, bank image in Spain. Brands who founded and who run this stock image, and giving us a workshop, a day workshop, how to, if you want to go into the stock image world, start and what kind of images they are looking for and how much do they pay. And the very last part of the MA tries to be as professional as possible and trying to give tools and advices to students. Most of them, all of them, talks them, what I told them, they have to talk about what they do, but how the students can. We also have some ex-students and graduates, how they have done it and how they have, I don't know, 2-3 years after they left college, they have their own studio and they are doing really well. Their own experience, no? And I think others' experience. Yeah, we have two professional studios here, which are available for students, not 24 hours because we don't open 24 hours, but from 8 with full equip, with cameras, with tripods, with different types of lights. We have portable sets of lighting that also you can take. We have two Profoto sets that you can take anywhere because they have their own batteries, so you can take it outside, you can take it home, and you can make your own studio. That's what many students do over the weekend. They take the set. But above that, we also use professional studios, like outside studios, and we do that like 4 or 5 times a year. We hire these studios, and we will go there. Also, it's important for you to know how to use the different equipment, because yes, in 2 weeks' time, 3 weeks' time, you will be very familiar with the equipment that you have here, but you also have to have an equipment that you don't know, and you need to know how to work with that equipment quite soon. By we go to last week, for example, we did a shooting, which was the last one of these professional practices, which was with a music band, and we do. And we did this in the studio. Outside. Second part is most of the projects we do, most of the practices we do are real practices. So someone is asking us to do a photograph for a CD cover, and or we were working with interior restaurant in Barcelona, Flash, and we took photographs for them. They need photos, so our practice was to do that assignment. So they are all of them real assignments. Most of the times, if, for example, the fashion, obviously with models, with makeup artists, with stylists, with art directors, with some locations. The week before the indoors, we were into places in the CaixaForum doing shooting there for a clothes company. And we were also in court. What is where the forum in Barcelona. They are all real assignments for companies, some photographers, some. There is no particular approach to photography in this MA. That means we are not documentary MA, we are not a fashion MA, we are not a editorial MA. As I said, we try to do as many approaches as possible. So students can choose and can find whatever they want to do. And I think also it's quite important to try different types of photography. These days, it's very difficult that one photographer can survive doing only one type of photography. Quite versatile in that sense. You have to know how to do portrait and also how to do an editorial shooting and maybe some advertising. How most of photographers are making. So, as we have this kind of wide approach to photography, the same happens for the final project. Whatever is some students doing personal projects like, I don't know, looking into their identity. Some of them are landscape projects. Editorial, it's completely up to the student and whatever that student thinks is going to be useful in her. That when the student finishes the MA in July and in September, you are back into their world, you have two strong portfolios. Are going into travel photography, or if you are going into documentary photography. Because as I said before, this is not about doing an MA and doing some homework and then you hand in some project on July and okay, you pass and that's it. No. Important for me is that everyone not only useful, but also that will live. Many students are still using in prizes, in fairs, in festivals, the projects that they have. That's the aim of this final project, to build a strong piece of work that will be useful for your career, that will be useful to make a living. Also, will last. So from that point of view, it would be have to do a project about documenting gypsies in Barcelona. We do that in the first part, and I will ask you someday do a project on gypsies in Barcelona, but not do only a project on gypsies. About gypsies in Barcelona, because this is what the whole thing is about. It's about giving opinions. Prophet is someone who sees the world in a completely different way from the rest. That's when your images will be interesting. The world that I know from a different perspective. And the different perspective will have to be. This is what is the whole hour that we are been talking. It's about this in one sentence. It's about giving your opinions and your point of view, not maybe your personal. How differently you see the world, how you see the world in a different way, but also you are able to see things that the rest of the people are not. That's a good paragraph. Somehow make you think because, oof, I didn't think about this topic from this perspective. Where I think you can stand up from the crowd. This is what we are trying to all be different. Thousands of photographers working. You have to be different. Finding your way of looking at the world. So yeah, the first part is more about directed projects, and the Gypsy is not a real one. Tourism, or maybe more particular projects in which you have to show one reality from your own perspective. And that's, I think, the way that you find your own way of expressing yourself with images and of doing things and your own style. But for us, it's very important, both obviously the technique, but also what we say. Something that is always present in our classes, in our lectures, in our workshops. Why are you doing this? What are you trying to say? How the viewer is going. This is not about making images. Obviously, it is about making. More importantly, it's about how people read your images. You can make, in your opinion, the best possible image, but if the rest of the world don't think the same. So that's also, which is for us very important from the very beginning, the audience and how the audience is going to read. And that's why we review all the projects together. We see your work and here's your audience. Let's see how we see what you. And normally these reviews start like this. It starts with the photographer not saying anything, just putting images on the wall. It's a very, very, very useful exercise because suddenly you get 10 opinions of people who haven't said anything about your intentions, and you see how they think the work is about. Well, thank you. Longer than expected to be. In any case, you have my email. Do you have my email? No, let's see. No. I'm going to do this. I'm going to, let's see if I can write it down. And so if you have, I give you my email. So if any of you have any question, want to ask me, please. Pedro Vicente. I'll give you my personal one because I don't look that much at Elisava. Vicente _ at hotmail.com with no capital. Please feel free to email any question that you might have, if you, whatever, and we can one time. I'm normally here 4 days a week, so. Know where I am if you need anything. Thank you.